In November of 2023, the Swell Pod took a 10-day journey across 5 states, traveling 3,580 miles with one challenge in mind.
And that challenge was to interview 100 pleasantly rebellious humans to uncover deep truths about what it takes to create something that has never existed before, challenge the status quo, maybe even change the world.
This is the Kiln Road Trip, created and produced by the Swell Pod.
In partnership with Kiln, Moterra Camper Vans, and sponsored by Taurus.
I'm Spencer McKeown.
And I'm Josh Taylor, and together we're the co-hosts of the Swell Pod and your guides on the Kiln Road Trip. Follow along on the journey.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, follow the Swell Pod on social media, and subscribe to your YouTube channel at, you guessed it, the Swell Pod.
This is interview 96 of the Kiln Road Trip, and today we're at Kiln Leucadia in California talking with Brian Scherer. Brian is the founder and CEO of Hey Counsel. Hey Counsel is a community and talent marketplace for solo, small firm, and fractional lawyers serving technology businesses. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you enjoy.
Yes, so Brian, welcome to the Swell Pod, the Kiln Road Trip, and thank you for being one of the 100.
It's good to be here. I'm happy I could help out and tell my story. I'm not good at doing it, but here's a shot.
No, it'll be good. And it's funny because obviously you're going on holiday tomorrow. We were grateful that you've come down. You were folding laundry, we pulled you away from your passion, and we're obviously with Sarah before that. So
yeah,
thank you, Sarah, for going home. And I'm not sure what she did and said, but
she said they need you, and I was like, all right. And I know you guys are buddies with Kev, so yeah. Figured I'd swing down. It's not too much of a trek. So
no, I appreciate that. We really do. We were going to give up pretty much if we, but now we can see the light.
Yeah. Don't give up.
So if you can tell us, Brian, and our listeners, who you are, a little bit about yourself, and then what you do for starters.
Yeah. So who am I? That's such a deep question. I mean, I guess I always look at myself as a pretty normal person, but I've kind of lived all around the U.S. at this point. So I grew up in Washington, D.C., kind of in suburbia, and stayed in Maryland pretty much for 25 years. I went to undergrad there, law school there. And then finally I was like, I need to get out. I took my first job out of law school up in New York, was up there for 3 years, and New York City just was great, but it wasn't the city for me. I like being outdoors. I think you guys like being outdoors. Yeah. You came here in a van.
Yeah.
So I actually moved to Salt Lake for a year, took a job out there, lost my job after 6 months because they shut down the whole operation out there, this company that I went to work for. But it was probably the best, most interesting 6 months of my life. Met some incredible people in Salt Lake. Just like times I'll never forget. And that summer I got laid off in May. And so I had like 3 months just to I had three months ish of severance and just 3 months to have fun. I was still like 27.
Yeah.
And I just went on adventures with a couple of buddies of mine. And then August rolled around, had to get a job, and found one out in San Francisco. Lived in San Francisco for a bit, met Sarah, who you all just interviewed, number 95.
Yeah.
But number one in our hearts.
Yeah.
And then we, after I was there for five or so years, and at some point we just, during the middle of COVID, we just said, screw it, let's move to San Diego for good weather, and came down here. So that's my abridged version of my life.
I like it. I want to know what did you do for those 3 months?
Oh, in Salt Lake. I was obsessed with outdoors, so we did tons of hikes, a couple, depending on who was free that day. I was free every day. So I did a lot of Uber driving too, because I was I got to save some money. So I drove Uber every day, which was fun. You meet, sometimes it was stressful, but you met some pretty fun people. But yeah, a lot of partying, a lot of drinking, a lot of outdoors, and just trips down to Moab, national parks. I actually dragged it was that summer, it was one of my good friend's bachelor party. I was best man in his wedding. And I just somehow convinced pretty much 8 people from the East Coast to come out and go to Lake Powell for 5 days. And they were like, what the hell is Lake Powell? Is a lake? I'm like, it's pretty cool. but they also had to fly 5 hours and then drive 4 hours for a 3-day or 4-day weekend. So by the time they got there in like the middle of the night, they all wanted to kill me. They were like, what the hell is this? And they couldn't see anything because it was pitch black. So anyways, long story short, they had the best time of their lives, I think. And then they realized how awesome it was out there. So that was fun. And then right after that, I came back and moved with my brother, helped me move to San Francisco. So.
Wow. That's a great start. Well, not a start, but you used the time that you had, re-energize yourself. And it also just introduced me to like a new way of life that I knew existed because I saw it online and like heard about people who lived in Salt Lake and how awesome life was. But like, again, I was like Maryland through and through, and then New York, right? So like I wanted this life and I never had it. And then all of a sudden I had it, and then I had to leave it for San Francisco. Yeah, that as well.
Did you ever get into any skiing or snowboarding while you were out there?
Yeah, so I kind of chose Salt Lake and it chose me, but I went there because I was obsessed with skiing.
Okay, cool.
So
yeah,
I knew that winter when I moved out there. I think I got there in December, and I still made it like a 60-day year where I was out all the time. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah,
where'd you go? What resorts?
I got a season pass at Brighton because it was the cheapest.
Yeah.
And it's also the best.
It is a good one.
But also did backcountry. Got into backcountry with a buddy, John Perry, who he'll watch this. he's like a creative director. Does a lot of cool stuff both with his Instagram and all of his work. Haven't talked to him for a while, but good human. Got me into all the things I needed to get into out there.
That's cool.
Including backcountry skiing.
That's awesome. Look at this, Josh.
Yes.
The very first person we interviewed is good friends with Sean White, but also he's created a company. He works for one company, but a side hustle is Backcountry Swell.
Oh.
And he makes some really cool gosh, I can't think of the word now.
Yeah, they're recycled plastic snowboards, skateboards. What do you call it? Snow surfs.
With what? What's the material on the back of it?
Oh, with like skins. So for like backcountry, he makes some skins as well.
Cool.
Instead of like split boarding, if you're a snowboarder, he has a couple. Anyway, it's pretty cool. It's recycled plastic. He's mission driven. It's kind of cool.
That's awesome.
We've talked about it with everybody that goes skiing or snowboarding
I know,
in every one of these episodes.
I just keep connecting it back because it's like being a whirlwind. But anyway, great product though.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, everyone out there, if you like live, is he out in Utah?
Yeah.
I mean, it's mountain biking and climbing and
it's amazing.
And skiing. Yeah, there's so much fun stuff to do if you live in the mountains. It's good stuff.
So what do you get out and do now that you're in kind of the Southern California
I'm
area?
surfing.
Are you?
Yeah. And that like changed. So, I mean, this is only 15 minutes, but I can go on forever. When I moved to San Francisco, I was like, I have to learn how to surf. Like it's time.
Don't worry about that.
And so, San Francisco is cold. It's got cold water. It's not terribly cold, but it's cold. You have to like be dedicated. But my roommate and I went out, and we were both terrible, and just went to some of like Pacifica and Ocean Beach and just got our asses kicked, and learned how to surf just via YouTube and then like challenging each other to go. We went 3-4 days a week for 5 years.
Wow.
And then when I like had the opportunity to move down here because of COVID, like we just jumped on it. My girlfriend at the time, now wife. So we moved to Solana Beach. We were less than a mile from the water. I bike to the ocean every day. So I'm just obsessed with surfing now. Yeah. It's taken skiing away. Like I love skiing, but surfing's so much easier. You just grab a board and go.
Yeah.
So
it's not expensive at all.
Yeah.
This is who we should have had as your surfing instructor today.
Yeah. I'm super into snowboarding, but I've never surfed. Not a single day in my life, and I've always wanted to. Grew up watching surf films, snowboard films.
Yeah.
And I've never been.
It's a hard thing to learn.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, you went today or no?
No. So we were trying to arrange something where I would get like part of like a challenge. I'd get a lesson, but
we jumped in the sea. We did go, and we went swimming for like at 3:00 just to say we did it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
beautiful sunset, by the way.
Yeah, well,
get some good ones out here.
Nice. Oh gosh. Yeah.
But that's impressive that you did. I mean, I tried yeah, where did I surf in Hawaii? And I just was sick.
Yeah.
Like I was out there bobbing up and down, and I was like, oh no, this is horrendous. But obviously, you have to put as you said, day after day after day,
Yeah.
5 years, and then
Especially if you learn anything late in life,
Right.
like we're old, right?
Yeah.
Or we don't learn things as
Yeah.
quickly. And learning how to surf, like everything's new. It's like the waves are new every day, and like like swimming for me is not my like best thing. So I was learning how to swim and like stay alive, and then learning how to manage a board, which is its own
Yeah.
thing. Get under waves, like all of it is you're learning like 6 different things at once. Whereas like if you pick up a tennis racket, like you gotta learn how to hit the damn ball.
Yeah.
And, like you just do that over and over. And surfing, you don't get the reps because it's wave.
yeah,
You have to be on the right wave,
to wait.
not get in people's way.
Mhm.
It's a tough one to learn, but it also, there's something magical just about being out there,
Yeah.
which is what I think really kept me going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So tell me, what do you do now? Like what do you do for work?
For work, so I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
Which made it difficult to move across country because
Yeah.
like lawyers, you got to be barred in the state you practice, or you have to have an in-house job.
Yeah.
So pretty much all law firm jobs were off limits to me. I had to get jobs like at corporations, right?
Right.
Being an in-house.
Yeah.
So I just like job jumped from state to state, and then so I'm an in-house lawyer. I do like financial services, regulatory stuff, and not that, I mean, I find it exciting, but definitely there's a huge part of me that was yearning for something else, kind of like at all times, right? And I'm not really good at sticking at one thing for a while, because I do like to learn stuff. But about like a year and a half ago, I jumped from my last in-house role to doing basically building my own startup.
No way.
Yeah. So it's and it's, it's still very much early stage, but it's essentially I'll call it a marketplace, but it's a little bit more than that. But right now we're connecting early stage entrepreneurs, early stage companies with technology lawyers who are, vetted, and we kind of do this whole process where we onboard everybody and we do reference checks and we make sure that they're very legitimate, and most of them are invite only lawyers. But the whole goal is, can we connect independent small firm lawyers who are more affordable with companies trying to build and be kind of cash conscious. So it's all under this kind of I guess ethos to make law more accessible to people. And there's a lot of reasons. Like I've been pitching the company a lot recently, so like I have this whole like way of doing it. But like usually I start conversations by saying like, hey, when's the last time you got marketed to directly by a lawyer that you didn't know?
Yeah. It's a good question. The thing that went through my mind was Better Call Saul, by the way. I don't know. Sorry, but no, but it doesn't happen that often.
It doesn't. It shouldn't happen because it's actually prohibited by most state bars.
Okay.
I think all state bars actually prohibit direct solicitation from lawyers. So you'll see lawyers on billboards, right?
Yeah.
And you'll see commercials, which are usually pretty corny, or like, advertisements to the general public, but you don't get direct targeting, which is a huge part of developing any business, right? You guys know. You have to reach out to people who want you at the right time. And so lawyers are kind of handicapped in that they can't do that. And that, coupled with a couple other reasons, like most clients find lawyers through referrals, right? Lawyers are super dependent on their network, which means most lawyers stick to the firms that they're recruited by, and firms have a lot of power in that they recruit, they pay tons of money for lawyers out of law school, the best ones. And so they have like a really good grasp on the best talent. And that becomes the network of the lawyer, and they don't have to worry about generating their own leads, right? They're getting paid handsome money. And that's why like this concept of big law has such a strong grip over the legal industry right now, and why rates really can stay high. And so the big picture that I think I pitch often and also just think about and kind of keeps me going is, we need more independent lawyers to leave big law and to bring legal services just to the general public in a more affordable way. And this is, it applies to business law, but it also applies to criminal law. It also applies to like all types of like access to justice. And that's my mission.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a long kind of windy road to get there. And right now I'm focusing on like a very kind of niche, I guess we'll call it like go-to-market strategy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, go ahead.
How, like, what? No,
it's getting late.
It's getting late.
I'm just wondering who you're pitching to, but
yeah. Who are you pitching to?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this will come out like 3 months from now. Like,
likely.
I mean, it's hard. I probably shouldn't even say I'm fundraising.
That's okay.
But I am like right now. I'm currently fundraising, so I'm pitching to potential investors. By the time this comes out, I won't be. So I won't be violating your rules, I think.
But we won't release it until you tell us.
But yeah, that's who I'm pitching to, and it's like venture investors, angel investors. Friends and family. So that's cool.
Is the marketplace some level of technology platform to connect people, or is it?
Yeah. So it started just with spreadsheets and me and a type form on my website. And then once I started to see there's a lot of demand for it, both on the lawyer side and on the startup side, I turned it into, I paid a decent amount just to get to stand up a like a no-code marketplace platform. And now I have like an actual thing that people can go to and sign up and then get matched with a lawyer, and it's getting a lot of good feedback. So
that's cool. You wouldn't have expected, well, I wouldn't have expected, law is you created something actually really with a deep an additional purpose, right? A mission. And brought it down a level, not down a level, but to access to accessible. A group, accessible to a different group. Where did that come from? Like, so where was the actual idea originally? Like, did you have a bad experience? Did you have friends have bad experience within that startup world, or what?
I think I just had a lot of weird experiences where I didn't understand why I worked in-house at a lot of companies I was telling you about. And I worked with a lot of outside law firms, big law firms, and I just couldn't understand why certain things cost so much money. So it was like dissecting that and then realizing like there's a lot of really great independent lawyers who are a lot less expensive. You just have to know where to find them. And then once I was able to figure out like that they exist and that you just have to look hard for them, then I realized, well, there's a product here in doing that work for other people and bringing those lawyers to them and making those connections, that it's just because of these, like, I discovered the prohibition on direct solicitation, which not like I discovered it, but like I kind of like put 1 and 2 together, and I was like, this is why it's so hard for an independent lawyer to make a business. Like they are so dependent on referrals. And so you have to be in the right time at the right place and ask the right person, versus somebody just being like, give me a list of all people who are 25 to 30 starting a business in the fintech space. They would be able to market to you directly, but they can't do that. So like that's just one aspect of it. And then it's an industry built on referrals and relationships. And so when you put all that together, you realize there is a bigger picture solution here. And then that's, I didn't start this with the concept of access to justice, although that has been like, when I went to law school, that was like one of the biggest things that I really became interested in, is kind of like how bent the system is and how unfair it is to some groups. So it's just, it ended up being like a nice, when I kind of dissected it from this perspective now, realizing if I can empower the independent lawyer, I can improve access to justice just by the nature of what I'm doing. So it's a bonus, and it's kind of like reinvigorated my passion for like this thing that I started. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I love how we started with the snowboarding and all that.
I like that too. So that,
because that's who.
I was gonna say it feels more like our longer form interviews.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because it's been so tough. These shorter interviews, we get we'd gotten probably straight to that.
Yeah, but there's no one behind me, so
yeah, exactly. But yeah, are there what competitors are out there that are? Because there's what is it? Rocket Lawyer or something like that might be. Is that how is that maybe in the same? Is it in the same space or is that different?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, like you know this. There's a million ways to attack like the same problem, and there's a lot of marketplaces and low cost legal services out there. I think they do a really good job in the areas that so like LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer, they've really brought down the cost, again, access to justice, the cost to be matched with a lawyer. I think like, and I don't know if I'm going to ruffle anyone's feathers, but like there's a certain quality that I think that you expect of the lawyers that you find on LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer. Whether or not it's true, that you don't see a lot of early stage companies going there unless they feel like they don't have the budget to go elsewhere. So like the margins that I'm really eating into are like I don't know how familiar you are with like big law rates, and like if you went to like a top 100 law firm.
Not really.
But if you're working with a partner at a top 100 law firm, you're paying over $1,000 an hour, and if you're working with an associate, you're paying somewhere around $700 to $800 an hour, which are insane rates. Yeah. So I'm able to provide very similar, if not better, caliber lawyers at $300-$400 an hour. Still really good for the lawyers. It's a great rate to make, especially when most of it's going into your pocket. So that's the initial kind of like margin that I'm fighting. Yeah. And LegalZoom, Rocket Lawyer are a little bit lower. They're kind of like, I think you can get lawyers for like $70, $100 an hour, and it's just not the market. There's a bigger picture play, which I won't go into all this, but like we're really trying to create a new network of lawyers. Yeah. So kind of like recreating a law firm without the law firm. Yeah. So that's, if I can build that and build a premier version of that, then I can kind of build it for all lawyers. And then there really becomes like some good network effects and shit that I won't even bore you with, but and I don't even fully understand it yet. And I'm like trying to piece it all together while I'm still building this very basic marketplace.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive though. It's like, it reminds me of Matt Levitt and others that just think a little bit. I mean, I know you're still piecing it together, but it's a different way of thinking. You're having to connect the dots between different systems and a new area, a new marketplace. Right? Yeah. It's great. I want to ask about AI, and I want to know how that's going to help.
Oh, it's going to be huge. Yeah.
Your business specifically.
Yeah. I'm using tons of AI tools right now. They help me draft contracts. They help me do research. They're not that great, but you can tell they're going to get really good. Yeah. And it's going to improve. Again, it's going to lower the cost of delivering legal services. It really should be like groundbreaking in legal.
Yeah. Because you'd have thought you'd have had AI present your basic kind of, I don't know, your support, and then what your highly highly qualified, experienced lawyers would then validate. I don't know if that's the same thing, but
I mean, and that's, I think it's interesting. Like that's probably one of the biggest reasons. I think big law firms are going to end up really having to change how they deliver legal services, and they may be very impeachable, because now small law firms are going to be able to do a lot of the big, like a lot of the large tasks that used to require tons of like associate research or associates like sifting through documents. AI can do that, and we'll be able to do that at like accuracy better than humans. When that's possible, why do you need a bunch of associates? Why should discovery in a big case cost so much? So it's really, I think the next 10 years is going to be like probably some of the most like strangest times for legal services, and we'll really see like how it all shakes out. I think people are making predictions, but I'm just gonna figure it out as I try to build in the space. So
yeah, that's awesome.
It's great.
It's a really cool space to watch. I can imagine it's gonna be. I hear it's ripe for disruption with this, and it's exciting. So should we ask the last question? Yeah. So it's been super great to talk to you. We really
likewise.
Yeah, it's been chill. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been really good. So the last question that we ask everybody is, what do you think it takes to create something that has never existed before?
Before we get into the rest of the episode, we want to thank the partners and sponsors who made the Kiln Road Trip possible. The Kiln Road Trip is brought to you by Kiln.
Kiln is a boutique co-working and flex office community with 13 locations in 6 states across the West, dedicated to providing innovative workspaces that empower your team to thrive. Whether you're a solo visionary or an enterprise-level team of up to 100, Kiln transcends being merely a place to work. It's a hub for learning and connecting with like-minded professionals that will make you and your team love where you work.
And if you haven't stepped foot inside a kiln yet, you really need to. On this road trip, we visited every single location, and trust us when we say once you see these beautifully designed spaces, meet the talented team, and connect with fellow members, you won't want to work anywhere else.
Locations include Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Oregon, California, and Arizona. And they're growing too, with multiple locations set to open in 2024.
Yeah, so be sure to check out the kiln locations nearest you by booking a tour at kiln.com and answer Swell in the question, how did you hear about us? Once you complete the tour, you'll be entered into a competition where you could win a 1-year membership, their club membership at Kiln.
Yep, you heard that. That's kiln.com, book a tour, and be sure to mention Swell in the question, how did you hear about us?
The Kiln Road Trip is also brought to you by Moterra Campervans, a luxury campervan rental company for iconic road trips. Their top-of-the-line vans are available at 7 locations located near America's best outdoor adventure destinations. They have consistently earned the highest customer ratings in the industry, making Moterra Campervans your gateway to adventure without sacrificing on comfort or service.
That's true, and initially we wanted to take this journey in a 1960s VW bus, but thankfully we found Moterra instead. With 3 van options, we took the Pop Top Classic, which sleeps 4 and is best for those who want to maximize floor space and storage. This was critical for us because it needed to sleep the entire crew, we needed space to edit, and we were traveling with large amounts of equipment, luggage, and other goodies that we picked up along the way.
And this van took us through all 3,580 miles of the trip. Super comfortable and sweet to drive.
And actually, Moterra offers fully planned itineraries if you'd rather leave the planning to someone else.
Visit gomoterra.com/swell. That's gomoterra.com/swell.
This episode is also brought to you by Taurus. Taurus is leading the charge in home energy storage. Taurus makes it easy to achieve energy independence and a greener tomorrow. The Taurus Station provides everything you need to generate clean power, efficiently store electricity, and easily manage your energy use.
And installing a Taurus station offers plenty of benefits, including save money on your electricity bill,
also ensure energy security with backup power during outages,
reduce carbon emissions with renewables.
You can also automate EV charging and HVAC systems with 100% renewables.
And enjoy unrivaled system monitoring and support.
If you like the sound of those benefits, get a quote to build your Taurus station in less than 30 seconds. Super easy at taurus.co. That's TORUS.co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
To me, it is persistence. That is it. That is the key. Yeah. It takes just getting through your own self-doubt, because that is the thing that has pressured me so many times just to shut down what I'm doing. Having these conversations keeps me going, because just talking to people and seeing their heads nod and it's also exciting just to hear yourself talk about something that you're passionate about. But then you have the dark moments where you're not getting any new leads, and you just had a bad investor call, and you're like, what am I doing? I'm not making the money I should be making right now, and I got a kid on the way, and which we do, which I'm sure you noticed. So yeah, it's the self-doubt and the stuff that can hold you back. So I think the persistence of just saying, just another day, keep working, will get you to where you want to be. And that is above everything else. It's not talent. I think all of those things kind of come from persistence, the talent and the success. And I don't know. Yeah. That's just my thought.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Kiln Road Trip. Be sure to follow along on the rest of the journey, and you can do that in 2 ways. 1, subscribe to the podcast, whether you're listening on Apple, Spotify, or maybe even watching on YouTube, and follow along on all of our social media platforms, whether you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or TikTok, at the Swell Pod. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.